Hey, everyone. Thanks for joining us on the Coach's Spot. It's me, your host, Jason T. Powell, with my co host, Anthony,
Super coach.
Super Coach DeBrule. Hey, thanks, guys, for showing up. We have a kind of a short show today. We're only going to try to get in about 30 minutes. Let's see if we can actually do that because Anthony's got to pick up his daughter. So, we're going to get going. Anthony's going to eat. It looks real healthy, whatever you're eating there, bro.
Yeah, it's salad in a stick.
Was that? Yeah, it looked like mozzarella sticks, but
No, salad.
oh, it's
Salad
a salad.
sticks.
Oh, okay. I had ground turkey stir fry for my lunch. Yeah, that's a mozzarella stick, bro. Right in front of me too. Right in front of me. I saw a picture of me from this weekend with a group I'm in, and a bunch of guys that are in entrepreneurs and stuff. And I saw a picture and I looked fat as fat could be. So my diet picked up this week. I've been on a good diet, but it picked up this week.
No, I told you yesterday. I was like, man, you look skinnier, big time in your face.
Well, I shaved. I think that has something to do with it. But yeah, my face definitely, I got the turkey thing going on. Like I have the little gobbler right here because I'm an old man. And it's fun. It's weird. We did a show. Will and I did that show with Kirk Mango, 3-time All-American, all that stuff. His book is spectacular.
Yeah.
How to Build Champions, yeah. And he had an adverse reaction to his second vaccine shot because his father-in-law lives with him. He's 94, so they got to be pretty careful. And he had an adverse reaction, and he got a rash all over his body. And he posted pictures. That dude he looks like he could still win rings.
Dang.
He is ripped. I mean, ripped. That guy works so hard. I don't know if he's retired. I don't even know if he knows how to relax. That guy doesn't know any other path other than champion.
That's funny.
We're getting a new shirt together. And for our other podcast, Full Circle Warrior, that's being released on May 5th, we're getting a new shirt. We already have one.
Full Circle Warrior gets shirts. Oh, okay. The other one that we did, we didn't get shirts.
You know what? You know what? Wait, whoa. Maybe I'll make it for the Coach's Spot. I might make the shirt for the Coach's Spot because it's going to have we'll put Coach's Spot on front, and then on the back, I wonder if I should say this because I don't want anybody to steal this idea.
Don't do it.
Don't do it? Okay. But you know what? I'll make them for the Coach's Spot. Just so y'all know, it's you know what? We'll get them ready for the Coaches Roundtable we're going to do.
Boom.
We're
going to have a merch store coming soon.
I don't know about a merch store. We'll sell them on the Full Circle Warrior website, though.
Yeah.
So
you wanted to get into bad attitude.
Right? Not really. I wanted to get into negativity. I wanted to talk about coaching where all you're doing is making corrections. And the reason I got into this is John Maxwell. I was listening to John Maxwell doing a speech. And he's real big. He's a Christian public speaker. He's hardcore faith-based. And he was on a show I listened to, Ed Millett. And he talked about negativity. And it kind of hit a chord with me because you and I both are pretty hardcore on anti-negativity. We're pretty positive coaches. And we've been around coaches that are not. And here's the thing. Negativity, especially in your coaching, is not sustainable. You will not keep athletes if you are negative because you're always giving them the negative. And everybody always hears, you got to sandwich a positive, negative, and a positive. But you also have to bring them a certain amount. Imagine if every turn you take ends with a negative comment. Why would you want to take a turn? And the reason I bring this up is because we all know about the fiasco my son had at that baseball game and their coaches were pretty negative. And I've seen a few other coaches, especially in baseball. And I was talking to Will about it, and Will's like, man, you know how many great athletes just get sick of getting yelled at? They just get, there's a difference between intensity and negativity.
Yeah.
I'm highly intense when I coach. And I've had coaches actually tell me, be like, dude, aren't you going to fix that? I'm like, it's not the turn to fix that. Like, the turn is she made a correction. She made a good mistake. I'm going to focus on that, and I'll fix that other thing in a few turns. Like, it can't be every turn that a kid takes. You're like, this is what's wrong. This is what's wrong. This is what's wrong. Like, even when I correct, like last night, I have a girl that bends her leg on her back handspring. Yes, I was coaching beam. So her flick on beam, she bends her back leg. I said, a pointed foot is an extension of a straight leg. So let's point that foot. Mm-hmm. I think that's a pretty positive way to give somebody a correction. Instead of your back leg is bent, straighten your back leg. Why is your back leg like that? Which one are you going to get beat down by? You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I think my main point is negativity is not sustainable. They're going to quit. They're going to leave. Yeah. And the problem,
or you're just making them fearful of you to where, I mean, even if they're staying, they're staying because they're afraid.
Well, and they won't make a correction because they're afraid if they make the correction, they're going to get more negativity.
Yep.
Guys, you got to be a creator of opportunity.
Yeah. When I laugh too that you're saying this, because this is prime example. I know yesterday you're asking me about regionals, and I'm just like, but this is a good point that I can tell you about regionals. Is like, for instance, one of my kids, she always she mounts the high bar, and she shorts the first handstand, and then she doesn't go fully into the handstand out of the free hip, and then it kind of chunks the
overshoot.
The pack. No, the pack. It was a pack.
Okay.
So whatchamacallit, I've been working. You got to hit your handstand, because we start off with going kip cast hand, and then she has a nice pack always. If she goes from kip cast hand, it's nice. But when she does the routine with the free hip, it's always bad, right? So I've been drilling this, and I'm like, once you get to that handstand, if you lock it, it's perfect. You'll swing right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So anyway, we're at this meet, and she's not even making the free hip. She's dumping, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so we get to our turn. I get on the block. I'm like, hey, just relax. This is gymnastics. Let's just have fun. We already know what could happen. We're hoping for the best. Yeah. So she's like, okay. She takes a deep breath, mounts, goes kip cast. She hits handstand, free hip, handstand. And then she swings huge. And of course, I grab her out of the air to slow her down as she's coming down. And she catches the bar from the pack, and then she peels onto her butt.
Yeah.
She gets back up. She finishes the routine. Right. And then everybody's just like, oh, man, that's a bummer. Like,
that's good.
I said, no, she did what I wanted her to do.
Right.
And they're like, what's that? I said, she hit her handstand in the free up hand. I said, yeah, she swung big and blah, blah, blah. But we kind of knew that that was going to happen.
Yeah.
But she did what I asked her to do.
Absolutely.
So I walked up to her, and I'm like, and I give her a hug. I go, hey, I'm really proud of you. You did exactly what I wanted you to do.
Yeah, for sure. There's nothing wrong with that. I think my point is, there's 2 points. One, stop being so negative about the outcome. The outcome is just part of the process. Get involved in the process, and then be diligent in staying on that process, and be decisive about staying on that process. And then the outcome doesn't matter. Right. Yep. And 2, stop giving everybody finish lines. Okay. This isn't track and field. Right. Mm-hmm. But just like in baseball, okay, we'll win the championship. That's the finish line. No, don't give them finish lines. It changes. If you give yourself a finish line, that means you're finished. Don't give yourself a finish line. Even in sports, it's always the next goal. It's here, 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 here. Stop being so, gold medal at regionals is the finish line, or at Western is the finish line. No, you know what I do? I've already started putting in my level 8's heads what we get to work the week after regionals. First, it keeps me accountable, right? It keeps me accountable that we're going to upgrade these skills right after regionals. And it makes me change my bar workout. So it keeps me accountable. Plus, it keeps them excited. They realize regionals isn't the finish line. They realize that this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. This is what we get to work the week after. And they're excited. Like they're talking about it already. They're like, oh, we get to do packs. We get to do overshoots. We get to do this. We get to do this. We get to do this. Because, right now going in the regionals, it's routine after routine after routine. So I've implemented a bunch of contests. I already got the Bluebell ice cream in my freezer. I got the little cups for them when they win one of the contests, So I got all this stuff to keep them interested and to let them know regionals is not the finish line.
Yeah.
Because you can't have finish lines. You can't have finish lines in life.
Yeah.
You know what happens at the finish line? You die. That's the finish line. Right? So if you keep moving that finish line all around, there is no finish line. So stop thinking of it as, don't even use the word finish. We're not finished. The season you especially know this, there's no off season in gymnastics.
No.
All champions in every sport realize there's no off season. There's short breaks and then it's back to training. Because if you go, let's take my son, for example, he's only 8, but if we go into the end of the season and then we say, okay, off season till baseball starts next year, is he going to improve?
No, he's going to take it as, oh, I can relax. This is my relax time.
Yeah. Fighters, prime example. Hector just posted that he's back in the gym and he's waiting for a phone call for his next fight. He's back in the gym. He doesn't have a fight set, but he's back in the gym, right? That's important. Get back in the gym. Yeah. Everybody has this. Cody Law, who fights for Bellator, they got these, they're in the gym, even during the off season. He just finished a fight. He's still training.
Yeah.
Take 1 or 2 weeks to let your body recover. Bam, straight back into it.
I laugh too, because I tell the girls too, I'm like, once we get off season, that's the most important time. Not when we're in season, and you know what I mean? Because once we get into season, it should be more relaxed. All right, let's get through this routine. We want to focus here, focus there. The most important part is when you get off a season, because that's when you got to attack it the most. You know what I mean?
Being in season is the reward. Going to is the reward of all the hard work you put in between seasons. See, I don't even call it off season. In between season. In between season is when the hardest stuff. My girls already know that the conditioning is boosting up because I got them halfway through a season. So I told them, I said, I'm not going to change your conditioning right now, because if I change your conditioning right now, there's going to be soreness and fatigue and all these things. Your body getting used to the new hitting at new angles, the new exercises. They're good. But I said, as soon as the season's, accomplished, you better get ready
for conditioning.
You better get ready.
Because I'm a terrible conditioning coach, and these girls take advantage of me. I have the word sucker written across my head, so I need to get your workout plan so I can be like, no.
I'm not mean about it. No,
I know.
I'm like,
but that's what I'm saying.
Done. Saturday, I did my conditioning, and they were like, I can't move my legs. I can't move my legs. I'm like, okay, time to do this. They're like, can we skip vault? Because I can't move my legs. Like,
that's funny.
Like, I probably shouldn't have conditioned them today going into regionals. But it was Saturday, and it was only me, and I had a big group. So because everybody else was at level 9 regionals or 9-10 regionals.
I laugh because my dog is staring at me through this window with his ears back.
He's not going to bite you, is he?
No, shut up. That's funny. Yeah, but to touch on that stuff, but I mean, I think too in the gym, people have to realize that once you are, because us as coaches, like we're like, especially for instance, I'm using me as an example. I coach every level. That means I'm going to every meet, end of season and stuff like that. And this year has been hard. I'm exhausted. I'm tired, and I've been kind of moody sometimes. And my kid the other day looked at me. I was like, "Hey, you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah." She goes, "You're a little moody." She goes, "You're tired, aren't you?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And I go, "I'm sorry if I'm." She goes, "No. I can just tell." that you know what I mean, whatever. And remember too, that's what you're putting out there. That that's a product of what they're going to start to pick up on. So once you bring that onto the floor, you know what I mean, they're going to start to pick up on that. And not only that, then other coaches too. You know what I mean. It's not just you. And you know, you get as coworkers, you guys got to strive to try to be better for one another. So if one is having a bad day, someone can help try to pick that up. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that way it's not leaking into the facility or the workplace, because that happens. Trust me, I know. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's exhausting. Plus, you're teaching them a train of thought that is negative.
Yes.
It's not always about, first off, perfection is unattainable.
Yeah.
Right. And once you realize that perfection is unattainable, then, you know, like I've had girls get perfect 10s and I've been like, that was not a perfect 10.
Yeah.
Here's the 3 things I saw. Do I tell them that? No. That day, that was a perfect 10 because that's what the judges gave you. But perfection is unattainable. And once you realize that, here's a prime example. Conor McGregor, when he fought Jose Aldo, knocked him out in 13 seconds. Did Conor have a perfect fight? No, he got touched. Because you would think that a perfect fight is what? Not getting touched, right? Not getting struck. When he dropped his left hook, it got there first, but he still got hit with a hook.
Mm-hmm.
If you watch the fight, 13 seconds, he got touched. Jose Aldo touched him. To me, that's not perfection. It's a perfect outcome, but it's not a perfect fight. Because if Jose was half a second faster or a split second faster, it was Conor that was knocked out in 13 seconds, right? The only time I've ever seen a perfect fight is Jose Masvidal versus Ben Askren. When he knocked him out with a knee, he never got touched.
Yeah.
You know, and how much of that is skill and how much of that is luck? How much of that is Ben Askren is just not that good of a fighter?
Well, I think
he got knocked out by one of the Paul brothers. So
you got to have a little bit of luck with that skill.
You have to. It's a flying knee. So is perfection obtainable? I still don't think it's obtainable. That was, again, a perfect outcome, but could you find flaws in it? I bet you could. I bet you could. Because if he misses that knee, Ben takes him down and takes him down hard.
Yep.
So, and he caught him perfect on the temple. You know, how much of that was luck? I don't know. And was it a perfect performance? It's as close as you can get to perfection.
Yeah. Well, I tell the kids too, I'm like, practice doesn't make perfect. Practice makes better.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's the same as, you know, you don't practice till you get it right. You practice till you can't get it wrong. So, I mean,
I like that one.
I do too. That's one of my favorites. It's, because it's true. It's true. You got to practice until it's such muscle memory that it's funny because we're just now, every year I question myself as a coach. So I'm going to be real here with everybody. Every year I question myself as a coach, especially going into the season. I'm like, we're not ready. We're not ready. And the lip service I give is, hey, we don't want to peak till regionals, right? That's how I put my coaching systems together, that we're not hitting on all cylinders at the first meet, but we're hitting as close to all cylinders as we can by the last meet. Right.
Yeah.
And that's how I put my coaching systems together. The week after regionals, or the week after Westerns or the week after nationals, it starts over. And I go back into high conditioning, high numbers, and then dedicate a certain amount of time to new skills. And, you know, I have a set plan, but every year I question it, just like I hear people of faith, pastors and priests and rabbis, all question sooner or later, you know, am I a fool? Is my faith foolish? I think it's the same. Faith in yourself is the same way, that every once in a while you're like, am I even as good as I think I am? Because everybody compliments me. Your girls look great. This looks great. Everything, you know, every year. So am I just getting lucky to get good girls every year? you know? So, but you question that. That's a part of human nature. There's this little voice in my head that tells me, hey, you're not good enough to hang with Igor, or you're not good enough to hang with these coaches, or you're not good enough. You know, I have moments of fear that I'm not good enough to have a podcast about coaching. You know what I mean? That's real. That's real. It happens all the time. But man, our practice yesterday, I was like, every year, man, they're pumping on all cylinders going into regionals. And I'm like, I don't know if we can catch the girls in front of us, but man, we're going to go out and we're going to give, you know, I pulled my level 8 aside. I said, I don't care about numbers this weekend, because regionals, you never know. You can go into regionals and you can get really low scores and still win, because they're just judging harder, because we have judges from all the, from all the states. And I told her, I said, we're going in to hit routines. I could care less what the numbers are. I don't care if they're a 7.5 or a 9.8. As long as you're hitting the routine, that's all I care about. You know, she's like, okay. I said, we're not even going to look at scoreboards. We're not going to look at numbers. We're not going to look at other gymnasts. We're just going to go in and have fun and do what we do. And here's the thing, though. Winning is fun. So let's not pretend like it's not. Winning is more fun than fun is fun. Like when people talk about, well, I was supposed to work out tonight, but I went to this party instead and I had a really good time. Okay, well, that was your choice and that's cool. But when it comes down to it and you fall a little short, you have to look back on that and say, was that fun worth it? When I got ready for golf tournaments, or when I got ready for my PAT, you know, there were plenty of times I didn't want to go to the golf course, which is crazy. There's plenty of times where it was just a practice day and I had to go to the range and I had to work short game and stuff like that. There were plenty of days I didn't want to go. There were plenty of days I didn't want to go to the gym that morning to get my body in the right shape to get there. But when I won my first tournament, I was like, this is a lot more fun than that fun would have been fun. Sitting at home watching whatever movie, or, you know, the only way I can beat it is, you know, if I was hanging out with my kids or I was going to the bed. Like this weekend, we went to Ninja Nation, and then we went to the batting cages, and then we went to dinner at Chili's, and then I took them to Brahms to get ice cream. You know, that was a great day. I took a day off lifting and all that stuff, and it was worth it, and it was great. Monday, I got right back to the gym. Yeah, and that's all you got to do, you know? So I guess the bottom line is, on negativity, is you got to be aware. You got to be aware of how much negativity you're giving and weigh that against the cost of that negativity. Because it's all money in the bank, right? Every time you give a positive statement, it's money in an account. Every time you can find something positive to say, and you can say negative things in a non-negative way. Just like I was like, hey, you know, a pointed foot is an extension of a straight leg. Yeah. That doesn't take, the way I want to put it is, you know, Joe Rogan talked about it in his comedy routine, but it's actually a really good concept, is that everybody's sitting on a top of, I think I've said this before, everybody's sitting on a pile of marbles, right? So you're sitting on, your life is a pile of marbles. And every time someone does something negative to you, or says something negative, or gives a correction in a harsh way, they're pulling a marble away. And then every time you're positive, you're giving marbles back, right? So you're pulling those marbles away. And if that's all you're doing, pretty soon all their marbles are gone, right?
Yep.
And then it becomes, they get in such a hole that no amount of marbles is going to fill that back up. Does that make sense? Is that too hippie?
Maybe.
It's pretty hippie, but I think it's really true. You think of it as a savings account, and you keep taking money out of that savings account every time you say something negative, and you're putting money back in every time you do something positive. Okay, well, sooner or later, you'll get in such a deficit that no amount of positive is going to fill that void. Yeah. That deficit.
It reminds me of this other one that I'll share with you. Ready? It's this father and a boy. The boy's having anger issues and stuff like that. He, you know, when he gets angry, he starts popping off his mouth and stuff like that. So his dad told him this is how he's going to discipline. He's like, son, every time that this occurs and this happens, I need you to go out to the shed, get a nail, get the hammer, go put a nail into the fence. So of course the kid, every time it does it, eventually the kid gets to not putting any nails. And it went by like a month, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the kid goes to the dentist and like, Dad, I haven't put any nails all month. And Dad goes, "Oh, I'm proud. Yeah, that's some progress." He says, "Now what I want you to do is go get that hammer and pull all those nails out." Kid's like, okay. So kid goes out and pulls out all the nails, right? And then as he comes back in, he's like, "Dad, I'm finished." Dad walks outside with him, and he's like, "You see, this taught you how to deal with all your anger and all that stuff, but all those holes that are still there, that's all the stuff that's still left from all your anger. You could take it back, but they're still always going to be there." You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
the son realizes, "Oh wow," you know what I mean?
Yeah, because you leave a void every time
Mhm.
every time you blow up, or every time you get mad, or every time you say a negative comment. You can apologize for it. You can give a
Mhm.
positive a comment, but it doesn't fill in the damage it's already done.
No,
Just
especially
like
with
when you
kids,
apologize, just because
they'll
you
always remember.
apologize, it doesn't uncrack. Like if it's a vase and you drop it and it cracks, you can apologize for dropping it, but it doesn't fix the crack.
Mhm.
And
Right.
people, that void that it leaves, you gotta take that into account.
Yeah, and we got to be careful. As you got to forget. You cannot forget. These are kids too. I remember. I don't know where I heard this from, but they asked a question. They're like, "Hey, I want you to think about one time you tripped, fell, skinned your knee, or you fell off your bike, whatever. I want you to think about that one time, and I want you to really try to remember what that pain was like." Okay, and they're like, "All right, now." I want you to think of a time that a teacher, parent, brother, sibling, someone embarrassed you and humiliated you in front of everybody. I want you to think about that moment and how that feels. Now, which one still hurts to this day?
Yeah.
Like, dang.
That's what I told my son when he was afraid of getting hit by the baseball. And I said, we can leave. But just so you know, if I pull you out of the lineup and we leave right now, it's going to hurt more than getting hit by
Mhm.
any baseball
Yeah.
for a much, much longer time.
Hmm.
And you got to remember that. You got to remember that. No
Yeah.
amount of physical pain, no amount of physical pain is like emotional pain.
I just hope,
You got to
when
remember
it's all
that as
said
an
and
adult.
done.
You got to remember that as an adult too, because
Yeah.
let's be real. I have a temper like you wouldn't
Yeah.
believe. I got an Irish temper that will flip out at the drop of a hat.
Yep.
And, but I rarely, I think 2 times in my whole career has it ever been focused at my gymnast, and both times were safety issues where
Yes.
someone was going to get hurt.
Yeah.
And those are the only 2 times. So my anger is controllable. It's just when I deal with
Mhm.
adults, I have much less patience with
Yeah.
adults.
Well, I
So
laugh too because I mean, there's times, and I've had multiple times where after talking to one of my children, I'm sitting there thinking, and I'm like, maybe I was a little too stern and too my tone was a little loud, whatever. So I'll go up to the kid and I'm like, "Hey, listen, that correction in what I was saying, yeah, I'm a little frustrated, but if I came off a little too strong, I apologize because that's not what I was trying to do. I was just trying to give you the correction and stuff like that." And 9 times out of 10, they're always like, "No, you're fine."
yeah, I
Like
deserved
it's
it.
cool.
I
And
deserved
that's
it.
the thing. And that's why a lot of my kids, people always ask me all the time, "Dude, how do you get your kids to be, so good?" I'm like, "It's because they love me."
Yeah.
Like they know I got their back. Like if you say anything to them, they're gonna say something to you back. Like, you know what I mean? They're not afraid of me. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So anything that I say, they know they can, you know, they're like, "Oh yeah,
That's because
I
you're
got him. I got
clear.
him."
You're clear on 3 things. You're clear on who the leader is.
Hmm.
You're clear on how you can help them, and you're clear that they can trust you.
Hmm.
If you want to be a great coach, those are the only 3 things you need.
Well, and I laugh too because
Establish leadership, show how you can help them. So have them buy into the system.
hmm
And then 3, show that, prove to them that they can trust you. If you do those 3 things, There's nobody on the face of the planet you can't coach.
Yep.
Nobody.
And I laugh too because I mean these kids. Should I say this?
Decide, because we're at 30.
Okay, I'm gonna say no. All right, so these things. This is how much it is too. These kids love me so much. Like there will be other people that will, like, say for instance, that help coach them too, and they'll, if they make remarks about me that's negative in any way or whatever, they think that nothing's gonna be said. But what they don't realize is that I know, because those kids. They're like, they'll sit there.
Everything.
But this is where it goes to show. They have more, they have my back more because they're going like this. Hey, I didn't like this, but this is what they said.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, cool, don't, and I always tell you, don't worry about it. Because if they paid attention to themselves, they'd be doing a lot better. You know what I mean?
Tell me way too much. They tell me way too much. There's things I don't want to know. I don't want to know their boyfriend's names. I don't want to know all that stuff. And then they still tell me. I'm like, anyway. But that's a good place to leave it, because that's 30 minutes, bro. 31.
All right.
So share, like, comment. Also,
hey, comment, because it helps our algorithm when we put it up on YouTube, guys.
That, and put it in the comments if you have a coach you want us to have on for our roundtable, because we're going to do a big roundtable of coaches. We're going to try to get them from multiple sports and just do one huge Zoom roundtable. And I think it'll be really helpful. I think it'll be really cool. So
yeah, and for
that's
those
coming up. That's coming
those
up.
Gymnastic fans, if you want us to do a round table with different coaches from different gyms, give us a hint on the gyms that you want, and we'll try to get the coaches on, because that'll be cool too. And because there's a lot of gymnastics kids that watch and listen to the show. Right,
we'll do a coaches roundtable of different disciplines and different sports, and then we're going to do a gymnastics roundtable of just gymnastics coaches.
Yep.
So I think that'll be really interesting. So thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for listening. I'm Jason Powell, and that's Anthony Supercoach DeBrule.
Yeah.
See you guys later. Bye.
Bye.